They beat one of the hottest teams in basketball, the San Antonio Spurs, in relatively easy fashion. Jarrett Allen had his best game of the season. I think, genuinely speaking, for the first time all year, the Cavs have overcome a subpar Donovan Mitchell game. And we talked about it on the show yesterday. They still have all the components of that 64-win team. They just hadn't been able to put it all together. And one game doesn't change everything. One game is a step in the right direction, but they still need to take many, 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 many more steps before they put themselves back in the contender conversation. But for all the things that have gone wrong with Cleveland, the Christmas collapse, getting blown out by Houston, Kenny calling them out, it's a pretty damn good response against a pretty damn good San Antonio team.
Yeah, they needed this. They needed to finally play like the Cavs, to have a game where guys sort of look like, okay, that's what it's supposed to look like. You could look at it one of two ways. It was a bad loss on Christmas to New York. If they finish that off, they're coming home winning 2 out of 3 on a pretty big trip. And you feel pretty good about where things are headed. Obviously, the loss in New York game, they got embarrassed in Houston. And to respond the way that they did, we keep saying, it just feels like we keep doing the same show over and over and over again. And I just keep looking at the calendar going, okay, well, another couple weeks, and we're really going to have to start lighting them on fire. Another couple weeks, well, now we're down to maybe 2 weeks, and we're holding to their own timeline, because this is the timeline that Donovan put out. It's one that you and I both sort of put out there. And then he also did of, hey, if we're still having these conversations in January, in mid to late January, I think he said mid to late January. I know he said January, then we've got more problems. Well, guess what? Tomorrow's New Year's Eve. So January is coming awfully fast. And to finally sort of, Evan, I thought was terrific against Wembanyama. Hey, Bull's on the show, right?
Bull is on the show today.
Okay, so yesterday, Bull said that Evan can change the entire narrative about himself if he locked down Wemby. Well, I'm curious now if Bull changed his entire narrative around Mobley. Somehow, I don't think that he will, or that he did.
So I think knowing how Bull's gone at Mobley before, I think he was talking about if Evan could have a dominant offensive performance against Wemby. Defensively, They were awesome, and I'm curious to see. It wasn't Evan who had the offensive explosion; it was Jarrett Allen. And Jason, I have said this at length. If you're going to play Jarrett Allen, you have to utilize what he does well, because he's not a bad player. Jarrett Allen's not a bad player. Is he a perfect center in today's NBA? No. Does he have his flaws? Absolutely. But he's not a bad player. He's an all-star. And whether or not he's an all-star now doesn't matter, because at one point he was an all-star. He's in that, 9 to 12 best center in the NBA conversation. He's not a guy that's going to initiate your offense, but if he's out on the court, you better utilize him, or else he's just standing around doing nothing. And last night, I thought, more than at any point this season, and even at points of last season, despite the fact they were winning, they made Jarrett a focal point of their attacks. And when the Cavs drove, and a lot of this has to do with the fact that you have a 7'5" alien in the paint that is better at blocking shots than any human being in the history of the world has ever been. He might be better than Jesus, Jason. I don't know. Might be better at blocking shots than Jesus Christ. I just can't say for sure, but it's those two, 1 and 2. They were getting to the paint and looking to dump off to Jarrett, and Jarrett missed his first 2 shots. And I swear to you, Jason, I sent a text to a buddy of mine, and I said, "Oh no, here we go again." Yeah. And after those first 2 shots he missed, which he short-armed a little floater, then he tried to do a layup around Wemby, and Wemby contested and missed it. He went 11 of 19 for 27 points. He grabbed 10 rebounds. By the way, the leading rebounder on the team. He had 2 steals. He got 2 offensive rebounds, and he was a +9 in the game. It was Jarrett Allen's best performance by far, and I was glad to see Cleveland kind of utilize him more in the offense to make sure Wemby can't just leave him without consequences. Wemby couldn't go up and help on the Garland and the Mitchell and the Tyson drives without having to fear that the ball's going to get dumped off behind him to one of the most efficient shooters in NBA history. Or finishers. He's not really a shooter, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, you're right. It was a great game for Jarrett. I like the new starting lineup, which really was the old starting lineup. They had a lot of success with it last year. I think they were +7. I looked up this morning. I don't remember what it was. I think they were +7 with Dean in the lineup. And, last year, Dean has been up and down, obviously, during his time here. And when they were really started to get it rolling last year, it was with Dean in that spot. And I really liked it. I liked it more than I thought I would. And, it should be Hunter. It's not. We can talk about it. We'll get into it.
It should not be Hunter. I vehemently disagree.
No, theoretically, it should.
Okay.
Theoretically, like when you look at least to me, when you look at this roster, when you're putting the roster together, like when everybody's whole and everybody's healthy, DeAndre should be that prototypical 3. It just, I agree, it's not. And I wanted it to be. I said before the year, I thought Hunter should be starting at the 3, and they tried it, and it did not work. So in theory, it should be him. In reality, it can't be him. And it sort of hamstrings the way that they have to do things. But, at least for one night, it looked a lot like it did last year with Dean in that spot. And, I don't know that you can count on Dean every night, unfortunately. But, man, I thought it looked really good last night.
You go back and look at all the advanced numbers. And I know, Jason, I'm sitting with the EPA king right now, and you and I happen to like numbers more than others. I don't think any one number is the perfect calculation. And in basketball, it may be even harder to find one player's exact impact versus others. But you look at all the advanced numbers last year and in prior years, the Cavs are a better rebounding team with 2 bigs. And then their other best rebounding lineups are any lineup that includes Dean Wade. And it's not because he's necessarily the one grabbing rebounds, but Dean Wade does a really good job blocking guys out, keeping guys on the perimeter from crashing down unimpeded to go soar over Jarrett or Evan and get an offensive rebound. Last night, they went against a team that starts, once again, an alien in Wembanyama, who's a rebounding menace, and a couple of really athletic guards. And I thought Kenny said to himself, we need size out there, and we need to put our literal best rebounding combination on the court. And, on the one hand, I can make the case that Jalen Tyson is a better rebounder than Dean Wade. But from a situational and positional standpoint of understanding the nuances of rebounding against a big team, I get the Dean Wade decision. I don't think it could be Hunter. We'll get to that in the next topic here, but it worked. And once again, we've said a few different times this year, Jason, they're 30-something games into the year. Oh, that worked. Will they stick with it? And so far this year, the issue with Cleveland is things have worked for one game and they get away from it. And they go back and they revert, and they haven't been able to sustain certain levels of success and certain standards that I know this organization holds themselves to. And Kenny Atkinson holds this team to. And we should, as fans and media members, hold this team to, because they were the Eastern Conference favorites entering the season. I heard someone the other day say, we got to be easier on this team. Like, they weren't expected to win anything this season. We shouldn't have. I said, what? Excuse me, sir. Like, yes, they weren't the favorites. OKC was the prohibitive favorite to win the whole thing. But the Cavs are the most expensive roster in the NBA, won 64 regular season games last year, doubled down, brought everyone back, and were the favorites in the Eastern Conference. So, yes, they should be held to a certain standard that we don't give to other teams like the Atlanta Hawks, who have been arguably even more disappointing than Cleveland has this season based on their own expectations. So it has been frustrating for Cavs fans because, Jason, you see glimpses like we saw last night against San Antonio. And then the next time they come out there, it's been a dud. And I'll even use the Christmas Day game, for example. They played really, really good basketball on Christmas in New York, in MSG, against a team that's given the bugaboos for the last couple of years for 46 minutes. 44 minutes. I was being generous. 42 minutes. Okay, 42 minutes. Let's set it at 42 minutes. And then that last 6-minute stretch, they got destroyed, and they had the 17-point Christmas Day collapse. And then they come out against Houston, and you say, at least, hey, we collapsed on the stretch. We know what our mistakes were. We have to rebound better. We can't go ISO. We got to foul. All those are correctable things. And they come out with no effort against Houston. And that's what's frustrating. So last night, a step in the right direction, but I'm not going to celebrate one step just yet. Enjoy the win. A win's a win. It's a good win on national TV on the road against a good San Antonio team. But that doesn't mean this team's back yet. It doesn't mean everything's corrected and fixed. Let's see what they do on Wednesday against Jordan Ott and the Phoenix Suns, who, by the way, Jason, we talk about teams that have given Cleveland fits in the past. It's these athletic, long teams that play so hard, like harder than they should for a regular season game.
Right.
That's Phoenix to a T.
Yeah.
And Dylan Brooks and Donovan Mitchell have a bit of a history, and that could be a heavyweight matchup. They're probably more middleweights. Yeah, that's middleweight matchup to end 2025.
So wait, after all that, my only question is that my new title is the EPA King?
I do believe right now, until the season ends, you are dubbed the EPA king. Yeah.
That's fine. I'll wear it.
Actually, you know what? You should be the EPA emperor for a little alliteration. The EPA emperor.
Whatever. Yeah, no. It's funny. Phoenix plays exactly the way the Cavs used to play, and they don't play anymore because they think that they accomplished something. They've accomplished nothing, but now they're playing like a team that's bored with the regular season. Honestly, I think that's a lot of this. I think they're a team that's just bored, and they want to get to April. Unfortunately, they haven't really done anything to earn that sort of lackadaisical effort during the regular season, but whatever. It is what it is.